Wow. Wow.
Wow. Good intro, Pat. Good intro.
Welcome to what do the gays who may not have marriage equality soon because Amy Coney Barrett is now in the Supreme Court think?
Oh.
It doesn't roll off the tongue like what do the gays think, but I think it's just as true.
What do the gays think? WDTGT.
Um,
What would be the acronym for the Amy Coney Barrett one?
let me. What do the GWMHMESBACBIOTSCNT?
Wow, I'm so riveted right now.
Oh,
Keep riveting me like this.
um,
I'm shivering.
wow. I'm quivering with anticipation.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of What Do the Gays Think. This is going to be more of a special session. Not going to be
Yeah.
as long as our other ones because we are just going to be discussing some pre-election thoughts. Right, Pat?
Thoughts and prayers. What
Thoughts and
everyone
prayers.
needs after and before a catastrophe. Thoughts and prayers.
Mm-mm-mm.
But yeah, so this will be the first. This is the third time we're recording. It's also the first special episode.
I thought it was the second
So
time we're recording.
no, like I mean the third like installment. You
Oh.
know, because we
This will be the
recorded.
third installment.
Yes,
We might call it episode 2.5. I don't know.
you do that, not me. I don't post any of this.
Well, why are you leaving it all to me? Why is this happening?
Well, you're in charge. So
Let's talk about the election.
now, yeah. Wait. But now that we are officially out there distributing our goods to society,
Delivering our packages.
yes. How do you feel about it, the podcast?
Oh, how do I feel about the podcast?
Yeah, we are now
Oh.
2 episodes deep, and with this, it'll be 2.5 episodes deep.
I mean, I'm proud about the content that we're trying to distribute, specifically,
Yes.
being educational and, telling people the truth and the facts and getting into the data and the science instead of just listening to what is, in the media. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of what we're making. So, and even though we might not get, hundreds and thousands of views, but we or listens, at least not right now.
Who knows? I don't know.
I'm proud of what we're trying to do here, and I think we should keep doing it. How are you
Great.
feeling about the podcast?
I think it's lovely.
Oh, you didn't
My friend...
you didn't even listen to it.
No, I didn't because I don't like how my voice. Why would I have to listen to it if I'm here experiencing it in the moment? But no, I think it's great. I mean, I'm excited. And now here we are doing our first special episode, 2 episodes in. It's
Two
great.
episodes in. All right, so hello.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have a few questions for you, specifically about the election, of course.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
So there's a good chance we're not going to know who won on election night, for a variety of reasons.
Yes.
I think, a lot of times states are just slower. Some states wait till all the ballots are cast to even start counting them. And especially now with mail-in voting, some of those probably won't even be opened until all of the ballots are in that state. So I'm not going to ask you about election night in particular, but whenever we do find out, which is hopefully within that week, but who knows, what's the first thing you're going to do if A, Trump wins, or B, Biden wins?
The first thing I'm gonna do if Trump wins is cry.
Okay, great.
And if Biden wins, I'll just be like really relieved and like thank God. Even though we'd still have to deal with him for another 2 months or so.
Right. Yes.
Until he actually leaves office, which would be January 21st.
I think.
Who knows? What's the first thing you're gonna do?
Well, if they're both alcohol based, which is great. If Trump wins, it'll be whiskey and probably neat a double repeatedly over the night.
Wow, this is very specific. I'm loving this.
If Biden wins, it's frozen margaritas
Oh, hell yeah.
because it's festive, it's sweet, and it can still get you there if you have a few of them.
There you go. There you
So
go.
I think it'll be alcohol regardless. It's just the mood we're in, depending on who wins. Yeah.
Are you going to be watching the election live, like on the news?
I mean, unfortunately, I'd rather not, but unfortunately, I feel like I have to because um, so much rides on it, so much rides on it, and I don't think enough people get how much rides on this election in particular.
I mean, Biden says it a lot. He says that we're the soul of the nation
Yeah,
is on the ballot.
yeah, it's the character of the country. It's not hyperbole. It's a little dramatic, but it's not hyperbole. That's for sure.
Yeah, so that was actually one of the things that I wanted to talk about as well. If Trump does lose the election,
Yes.
do you think that Trumpism is going to go away or not?
uh, no, I don't think. I mean, I like to think that the majority of the Republican Party, maybe not the majority, there's a good chunk of the Republican Party that doesn't align with his views specifically. So I think the Republican Party during the last election kind of just settled for him because they had a part of their base that really liked him. They needed a candidate, and they were like, "Fine, let's just go with Trump now." I'm hoping, should he lose, hopefully
Hopefully.
lose, um, that kind of section of the Republican Party that kind of just adopted him will separate themselves further. And I think you're going to see like a rebranding afterwards, especially as the next midterms come up of Republicans who are going to be like, we're no longer like that. We're going back to what we really were about. Some good old conservative views that aren't explicitly racist, homophobic, xenophobic, but just subvertly those things.
So
No offense. No offense.
you do think that the Republican Party is going to distance themselves from Trump if they lose?
Oh, I think, yeah. I mean, I hope so. There are some that are already doing it, but I think you will see them en masse kind of move away. But there's always going to be those people who are going to be like, I can't believe you lost. It was rigged. We have to, investigate this with,
Yeah,
total amount of scrutiny.
investigate. It was rigged. It's fraudulent. All the
Yeah.
mail-in votes were fraudulent. We stuffed the
Uh,
ballot boxes, etc., etc.
yeah.
Of course, we won't know until election night, or you know what? Not even election night, because you said this before. We might not even know on election night.
Yeah. I mean, I think you'll see a lot of states, like not the battleground states, the other ones that don't matter as much as we talked about previously. Those I think you could probably decide with certainty where they're going to go. But I think you're going to get at first a lot of like Biden ballot vote information, and the Republican voters who are voting day of, that's going to trickle in later, as opposed to a lot of Democratic voters who are voting by mail. And some states will be opening them up a lot sooner because they already have.
Yeah,
So I think you're going to get that.
I think it depends on what order the state opens up their ballots, because some states have to open up the in-person ballots first, or count the in-person ballots first, meaning that it may look like certain states are going towards Trump but they haven't counted the mail-in ballots yet, so then they might swing towards Biden.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I'm not looking forward to it at all. The night, I mean, I'm not looking forward to it now.
no, I'm not, because what I fear is that while we are live watching the election, sorry, while we are live watching the election, it's gonna look like Trump is winning, at least in the states that have to count their in-person ballots first.
Yeah.
Which is scary, especially for people who do not want to continue having him as the president.
Most people, I think, yeah.
So, but on election night, at least from what I've read, we should know the results of Florida,
Okay.
and some of the other like southern states like Arizona and Texas. We should know the results of those states on election night. And not to say that Texas will go to Joe Biden, but it is pretty close, at least according to the
Yes.
polls.
this is what I was going to ask you about now.
Oh,
Texas. So yeah, a lot of people think that he could possibly win Texas, which hasn't happened since Jimmy Carter won it in like '76. So what do you think? I mean, do you think it'll actually happen that he'll get Texas?
um, I would be optimistic about it. I think it's definitely possible, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet money on it.
Well, I don't
um,
have much money to bet anyway, but I'm hopeful because that would be that'd just be so great. It would just be so great.
if Biden does win Texas, then the election's over. Like
Yeah.
there's no way that Donald Trump can win the Electoral College without Texas. Um, so at least that's one good thing.
Oh,
Well,
great.
if Texas does go blue this year, which, like I said, I wouldn't bet money on it. I'd probably bet that Trump would win, just because of how Texas has historically voted.
Right.
But the turnout numbers in Texas are actually pretty uh, promising,
Right.
because apparently, at least this is from what I've read, apparently Texas has superseded its number of votes in the last election already, just in early votes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's. I don't know if that's common with all states. I don't want to say that, but I've seen a lot of uh, articles saying like this is going to be the largest turnout in any recent election, especially with young people, and a lot of it is because of everyone kind of mailing in their votes. So maybe should next election ever roll around, who knows what Trump is going to do should he win? He just takes out that whole democratic system. And we could have just mail in voting being a more standard thing,
I mean,
early mail in voting.
even the mail-in voting, or the ballot drop-off box thing,
Yeah.
that was a pretty smooth process, I think, or at least that's how I voted. But
Yeah.
so if they could start making that a more regular thing, like I'd be all about that.
Yeah. I think, and that whole thing where like the argument that like, what is it? Like President's Day is like a recognized holiday or some of these dumb holidays that people get off for but don't need to. But then there's election day that is necessary, but people don't get off
But people
for.
don't get off. People really should get off for election day, and I still can't believe that people don't get off on election day.
No, it's like, oh, I just want to decide like the fate of my country. Sorry, you have a 9 to 5, and the polling place closes by 4, and you're just like, oh well, I guess I'm not voting
Guess I'm
this
not
year.
go. Yeah, luckily my company has been pretty good about letting us go vote midday if we need to.
Right.
They've been actually pretty good in general, like letting us deal with things now that we're all working from home. Um,
Yeah.
and hopefully other places are doing that as well. I don't know. I'm only speaking for my company.
No, I mean, I think with all this early voting stuff, I mean, as long as you make a plan, and now
Make a plan.
you can't mail it in now. It's too late. So now you have to physically take it. If you have, your mail in, or if you have your whatever provisional ballot, whatever you got to physically take it over to your voting poll place or a drop off box and then do it, because some people be submitting it thinking that they can overnight it. Just like, no, no, this is not USPS. It's not how this works.
Yeah, if you are still undecided or still not sure if you're going to vote, please do.
Please do, and please don't vote like by mail right now. All right, it's too
Yeah,
late.
it's too late. If you have your mail ballot, put it in the drop off box. That would be the easiest way to get it in. Um, I think anyone who'd be watching this or listening to it has probably already voted.
Yeah,
Um,
all 6 of our viewers, our listeners.
yeah, don't knock them. They're very important.
Oh, I know. I love each and
There,
every one of them.
there are grassroots supporters. Okay,
Grass.
grassroots
Yes.
donors. No.
No, no one's donating to this, but they are our grassroots supporters. Yes.
Yes, our grassroots supporters. So the election, right?
Right.
We're recording this on Sunday, November 1st. So for us, it's 2 days away. And probably by the time this goes out, it will be Monday. So it'll be one day away.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win?
Like objectively, not who I want to win.
Yeah, who do you think is going to win?
Uh, I don't know. I keep seeing all these polls and all these stats that have everything very close, and I don't like how close it is. because when I think back on everything Trump has done, I'm like, this should not be a close race. This should be one definitively losing, one definitively winning. But it looks like it's not. It looks like it's going to come down to a few amount of votes, and that's going to decide the difference between the two of them. But I think, God, oh no, the pessimist in me, and even the realist in me, thinks Trump might win, which is unfortunate that they both have that role right now. But
Right.
no, I think there is a very real chance he will win, which is frightening, but I think it's a very real chance. Of course, I want him to lose, but I don't
Right.
get what I want most of the time. So this is great.
um so I am pretty big on the data, and a lot of the polls right now do have Biden up by at least a sizable margin in a lot of the battleground states. I think in Florida it's pretty close. I think Biden's up 2% in that particular state. And then in some of the other Midwestern states like Pennsylvania, I think he's up by like 4 or 5 percentage points, and then in Michigan, Wisconsin, he's up by like 7 points or something like that. So just based on the data and based on the polls, I mean, I know you can't necessarily predict the outcome of a state's election just based on the polls, because obviously, that's never going to work.
Unfortunately, no. These systems aren't great for predicting the actual winner.
Yeah, it's not perfect. I think it's a good way of gauging to see, where certain states kind of are. Like Georgia right now, for example, is actually really close. So I think that's going to be a state people are going to want to watch. Texas is going to be a state people are going to want to watch. Obviously, the normal battleground states, Florida, Pennsylvania is going to be a big one that people are going to, be keeping an eye on. But in terms of, who's going to win those states, I don't know if like a 2% lead in Florida is like a comfortable enough margin to say Biden's going to win.
Yeah, what's the margin of error on that, though? Is it 2%?
I think it's enough that Trump could still carry Florida.
Right.
But if Biden does carry Florida on election night, which we'll know the answer to that. If Biden does win Florida, then he probably is going to win. There are still some ways Trump can win if Biden wins Florida. Yeah. But most likely, Biden will win if he wins Florida.
Yeah. Speaking of Pennsylvania, I recently saw, Obama did a speech in Pennsylvania. I don't know if it was in Philly or it was in some city, but it was a really nice speech. I don't know. Talked about, working with Joe Biden, why he thinks he's a good guy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And how important Pennsylvania was to the election. And I was thinking to myself, when you're in those cities, that's not, at least in Pennsylvania, the voters that he needs to be speaking to. I think in like well-populated cities, especially in the Northeast area, you're going to get most of those votes to Biden. They have to go to like the woods of Pennsylvania, like, like where some of my relatives live, you got to get in there, climb the mountains, get through the bush.
Climb the mountains.
Literally, you got to get up in there, in the smaller towns in the middle of nowhere. Because, it's nice to get a rally out for Biden, especially, closer to the election, show that people are revved up. But I don't think, as you get closer, I'd hope they would focus more on the areas they need to focus on, which in Pennsylvania is not going to be somewhere like Philly. It's going to be somewhere like, Martinsville, crap where you could go a few, minutes without even seeing a neighbor. So the speech is very nice, though. I'm not trying to knock him in any way. I just think that, Trump is currently on his tour spreading
right.
his virus.
Spreading the virus, yeah.
Oh, God, that whole thing. So he's up there flying around, jumping city to city, having all these events with like minimal masks, minimal social distancing. And like
super spreader events.
Yeah. There was that article that a friend of ours had posted on Facebook, I'm pretty sure. And I know that's Facebook, so you can't take it as complete gospel. but it was an article about how they were trying to trace an increase in COVID cases specifically to Donald Trump's
Yeah,
like
to his
activities
events.
on the campaign trail. And I was like, of course, this is it. Like, he's just gonna take his little infectious body of White House members and just drag them along the country and just get everyone sick.
Yeah, I think I read one statistic from that article, and it was like, oh, they traced 30,000 cases specifically to his campaign events, and also 700 deaths.
You know,
Wild.
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
What it is. This man is wild.
Wild.
God, I can't stand
But yeah, I'm gonna backtrack slightly because you think Donald Trump's gonna win, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, I feel it in my bones that's gonna happen. Yes.
Right, you having like a premonition.
Right. Yeah, it's my weird fever dream I can't wake myself up from.
I think that Biden's gonna win.
Oh, good. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
I also hope I'm right.
Yeah.
And it's just based on, so there's a whole bunch of different models that I've been looking at. Like obviously 538's model, which is more machine learning based and kind of based on, it's based on the polls, but it's also based on other factors that happened during, Donald Trump's presidency, etc. But there's also, I forget, Professor Lippmann, maybe is his name. He also has a model that has never been wrong in predicting the election outcome since 1980.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's based on like these 13 factors that are basically like yes or no questions.
It's like his 13 keys or something.
Yeah.
Yes. I've heard about this. Yeah.
Yes, and he did predict that Donald Trump would win the 2016 election.
Couldn't have been wrong. Nope. Couldn't have been wrong.
No, but he predicted that Joe Biden would win.
Oh, well then, good. Be right, please.
Which I thought was interesting, and it's mostly because like the two keys that turned in 2020 against Donald Trump were, the economy crashing,
right, fair,
and also the Black Lives Matter protests. There's a whole portion about civil unrest in that model.
It ain't civil, that's for sure, but it's unrest. It definitely is.
So yeah, Professor Lippmann, I think maybe might be his name. I'll write his full name in the description somewhere.
Yes.
But yeah, look up his model. He's predicting that Joe Biden is going to win. And a lot of models have, Joe Biden winning. But there was also a different model. It's called the primary model, which I also forget the person who wrote that model.
Not necessary. Just, yeah, what is it? What does it do?
Yeah, the primary model is also another model that has predicted accurately the president for quite a while. And it's based off of the voter turnout in the primaries before an election. Mm-hmm. So what the primary model is basically saying that since the Democratic Party was so split in their primaries between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders and everyone else that was there.
Yeah, all 20 other candidates that we had,
yeah. Since we were so split and the Republican Party was so obviously united under Trump, then that means that Joe Biden's going to lose. Because it's all based around who people are voting for in the primaries.
Great. Let's hope that one is not right.
Yeah, well, I mean, these two models that say they're right all the time. Well, obviously, one of them has to be wrong. Wrong.
Wow.
And I was also listening to a different. I look at all these models because I'm nervous about this election.
Really? I can't tell.
Yes.
I can't tell you're nervous at all. No.
So I was looking at a different model, which is just based off of the economy. Because if you go back in time and you look at, how our economy has been doing versus the previous year, almost always an incumbent will lose if the economy goes to shit.
Right. Okay, that makes sense, though. Everyone's going to blame him. Or her. Well, him recently, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't really blame Donald Trump that much for the economy going to shit. I think it would have gone to shit whoever was president,
Well, yeah,
because of the virus.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so what I'm saying is Trump, according to that model, will lose because the economy is shittier than it was last year.
Hey, that's fine. Any strike against him is fine by me.
Yeah, look, and we can forecast all day, but when it comes to the record turnout that is happening in this election right now, like we've already surpassed, or some certain states have already surpassed their 2016 voter numbers. You can never compensate for the large amount of turnout when people do show up to vote, because all these forecasting models that are based on polls, it's all based on likely voters, right?
Yeah.
People who those pollsters think are going to turn out. But if we turn out in larger numbers than what they expect, then it's pretty hard to forecast that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same
And I
thing with
hope
the
everyone gets out there and votes.
yes,
Fuck up those models.
we stand the votes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've been going for a little bit. I wanted to keep this one relatively short, just to talk about what we thought. Do you have any other feelings?
Oh, I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of feelings. I just don't like expressing them because it's like a just spilling open a bottle and everything just falls out of me, and then I'm a shell of a man crying on my floor, thinking about everything bad that's gonna happen should he stay in the White House. So no, I don't want to talk about my feelings, but I think I've made them apparently very clear.
Right.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any more feelings?
I also have a lot of feelings, but no.
Okay.
At this point, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm less nervous than I was probably a week ago because it's finally almost here.
Yes, just end already, please.
Yes, I've been counting down the days to election day for like months.
It's the new Advent calendar, but it's for election day and not Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're finally here, or at least we're 2 days away. And we're finally gonna, probably by the end of the week, hopefully, know who is going to be president from 2021 to 2024.
Oh God, just terrible. Just terrible. Just terrible.
All right, we're gonna sign off on this episode, this special session. Thanks everybody for watching/listening, depending on your mode of consuming media.
Yes,
I'm Matt Klubeck.
And I'm the ghost of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, haunting Amy Coney Barrett's chair, Patrick.
All right, we'll talk. We'll see you guys in the next one.